Yes, we're live. We're back once again for a WWE Monday Night Raw post-show. The European tour on the road to WrestleMania has come to an end this evening for Raw in London from the O2 in the UK. And an interesting episode of Raw because we had some very good segments on the show, some really enjoyable segments. The best Cody Rhodes, John Cena segment, the best Gunther and Jey Uso segment that we've seen, and certainly some matches suddenly feel like they actually do mean a bit more as we head into WrestleMania. So that in itself, that's a positive. That's a positive, and I think that's a positive we could all get behind. One of my criticisms has been coming into this WrestleMania season that it's been a one-match, build, and it's even the World Championship match between Cody Rhodes and John Cena. It feels like more it's John Cena versus the WWE fans as opposed to John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. So you wanted to see some physicality this evening, wanted to see some progressions in some of the feuds, and we wanted to see that some of these matches meant something, and we did see that. But now that the show has finished, and we're going to get into the John Cena Cody stuff immediately because I opened the show, there are still so many questions and I think so many valid criticisms of this John Cena Cody Rhodes build that I'm really interested to see what you guys think about all of this. So I want to get your guys' thoughts, get in the chat, get your super chats in, get your members chats in, and let me know what you think. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Let's see if we can get to a quick 50 likes if you haven't already. As you can see with the subscribers right there, we are 45 away. Just 45 subscribers away from 20K. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Click that notification bell. We do daily news videos. We do countdown videos. We do watch-alongs and post-show streams like this. You can see in the sidebar right next to me, you can see all of the upcoming watch-alongs that we've got, whether it be WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday. We've got AEW Dynasty this coming Sunday as well. And also a reminder, you can join the WN365 roster. All you have to do is click the link in the video description. It's also pinned in the chat too. In a few seconds, you'll see the QR code that you can scan as well. Send you straight to where you have to go to join the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and your exclusive members-only content. Right, let's get into this show because I think this is a really fascinating one. So, a really strong opening 90 minutes of the show, certainly. No doubt about that. A really strong opening 90 minutes to this show. We begin with John Cena. John Cena comes out once again. No change of music, no change of gear. As we've seen, he's not going to give the fans what we want. So he comes to the ring, as one would expect. He gets booed. John Cena sucks, all that kind of stuff. So that's happening. But it goes to speak. He's got the microphone, goes to speak, and he's just about to say his piece, gets interrupted straight away from Cody Rhodes, right? So instead of getting a Cena soliloquy this time, we get Cody Rhodes straight in. He's not going to let Cena say anything at all. And what we got in terms of this segment between the two was the best segment that they've done. I mean, it's blurring the lines. We're shooting here, pal. There's references to Tony Khan. There's references to Vince McMahon. Cody Rhodes says, you've come out for all of these weeks and kind of pontificated and said your piece about the fans and all this kind of stuff, but you haven't really said why. And he says, why, John? Why? Explain as to why. And John Cena effectively says the reason as to why is because you use this as a prop. You're not better than me. You use this. What's the phrase? I build empires for billionaires. You just use the money for billionaires' sons. Again, a reference to Tony Khan. Cody Rhodes retorts by saying, you were hand-picked, hand-selected by a guy in office that we don't even talk about anymore, that doesn't even work here, referencing Vince McMahon. So they were blurring the lines, and it was probably the closest we've got to John Cena kind of cooking Cody Rhodes in terms of the promo, which is, I think, what a lot of people wanted to see. And the question then became, would we escalate to physicality? Once again, it felt like this time. One of the criticisms of this feud, and again, I've had a criticism of it, I mentioned it just a few minutes ago, that this felt a lot like it's John Cena versus the WWE fans as opposed to John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. Tonight, for the first time, we get John Cena explaining himself why that he turned on Cody and why he's got a problem with Cody. So there's an actual issue at play now. Okay, yes, it's John Cena versus the fans. Yes, it's heel Cena, but they've explained the reason there. So I go, okay, right, that's the tip. We've got that. They did reference Dwayne. They did reference The Rock. Still no explanation as to why he sided with The Rock, but for the first time, The Rock's name has been mentioned in this build-up to WrestleMania, which hopefully that's going to be significant because we haven't got any other reference of The Rock so far going into WrestleMania. So I guess that's something. Are we clutching at straws? Maybe a bit. And then we go to physicality. You know, the microphones get thrown down. Cena looks like he's not going to take a swing. He's just going to walk away. Goes for the clothesline. Cody Rhodes gets him into the crossroads, hits the crossroads, and then stands tall to close the segment. So, and it must be now reminded, because it's important to have this in context. When this was happening on the watch along, if you've just been on the watch along, or if you've just joined after watching the show, you can see in the chat, there was this sort of feeling that, oh, okay, right, he got the better of Cena here, and for the last 3 weeks, he's got the better of Cena really on the mic by design. Let's face it, if John Cena wanted to, he could completely eat Cody Rhodes alive on the microphone, because he's done it to the biggest and the best of all time in terms of some great promos. So let's not pretend here that Cena's just getting completely outwitted and outfoxed by Cody Rhodes on the mic, because he's not. It was the best back and forth that they've had. But I thought after this physicality, I thought, well, because tonight's the last time, remember, this is the last time we see John Cena before WrestleMania in terms of what he's advertised for. As of right now, between now and April 20th, which is night 2 of WrestleMania Sunday in Las Vegas, Nevada, where he will face Cody Rhodes in the main event for the undisputed WWE Championship, John Cena is not advertised for another episode of WWE television. That's not to say he won't show up, because you never know, but he's not advertised for another episode of WWE television. And I thought, well, there's no way that, what you can see on the screen right there, there's no way that is the final image before they face off in the main event of John Cena's final WrestleMania. There's just no way. There's no way. I thought we're going to get a bit like we got last year from Raw in Chicago, where we had the Cody and The Rock face off earlier on in the evening, and the show closes with The Rock attacking Cody backstage, bloodies him up, and we go like that. They get some revenge. But we never saw Cena again. We never saw John Cena or Cody Rhodes again on this show. If, and it's a big if, because again, there's still time for this to play out, but if this is legitimately the build to John Cena's final WrestleMania match, then I don't think you can look at it any other way by saying that's been a letdown. You have to. The heel turn at Elimination Chamber, it's one of the greatest moments in WWE history in terms of shocking Cena, all that equity, over 20 years of being a babyface after he, turned babyface in the early 2000s, never turning heel again. The shock factor, people didn't see it coming. What a moment! And after that, Elimination Chamber was like, right, we're on the road to WrestleMania now. What a shot in the arm for a WrestleMania that felt like it needed it. This is exciting. And then you had to wait several weeks for Cena to show up. So it felt like there was this sort of delay, but anticipation builds. And the first promo that he did in Brussels was good. It was a good promo. There was still lots of questions. He didn't mention The Rock, but, the crowd was hot, and he sort of had to go at the crowd. Cool. The one in Glasgow wasn't as good as the one in Belgium, and it was effectively the same segment, sort of going up at the fans, and Cody Rhodes interrupts him, and then they leave. And you thought, well, tonight they've got to go big then. They've got to go big. And it was a good segment, a really good segment, really enjoyable segment. But if the build to this WrestleMania match is Cody Rhodes has got the better of John Cena on the mic every single time, and now, after just literally a clothesline crossroads, and that's the build to the match, I go, well, surely that's why I was like, there surely has to be something else coming. Surely. There has to be more. And I mean, I know it's not like they need to sell tickets or no one's going to watch this match at WrestleMania, because of course they will. The match sells itself, and maybe that's why they've done what they've done, because they don't need to do all that much. But with several weeks left, I would have hoped as we got into the home stretch of WrestleMania, we would have got something more. And it just feels very lopsided. The only thing I take away from it, to be honest with you, is John Cena's winning. I mean, that's been my prediction for a while. With how strongly they've protected and built up Cody over the last 3 weeks, my only thing is that they're protecting him. Because he's going to lose. Because he's going to lose at WrestleMania, they are protecting him. That's the only thing. That's the only sort of rational thing I can think of here. That Cena's definitely going to win. You don't get that. You don't get that shot there. The last time you see Cena before WrestleMania, if John Cena's losing, because what's the point? If John Cena now loses this match against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, I mean, it's still John Cena. He's always credible. But remember when he came out on Raw on the January 6th episode and he was like, I haven't won a match in however many years, a singles match in however many years, blah, 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 blah. Well, you won Elimination Chamber, but you've just been sort of dominated by the champion. Cody Rhodes doesn't look like he's even sweating John Cena that much. So there's sort of two schools of thought here. One, Cena's making another appearance. He's not advertised, but he'll show up as a surprise. Maybe it's on the Go Home episode. And I think they have to. I would still be stunned if this is the build. If this is it. If that was there, like, right, let's put a button on it, build's done. Because there's still so many questions. There's the Rock element still. You referenced him this time, but we still don't know anything. Again, Cena's largely been sort of cooked by Cody Rhodes on the microphone and now physically. So there's still a lot of questions, and they needed the physicality tonight. So I'm glad they did the physicality, but there's still just a lot of questions there, a huge amount of questions. So we'll see where that one goes, certainly. We've got over 50 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 50 likes. We're currently at 19. If you haven't already, click the like button. And also be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. Let me know what you think in the chat. John says, hi, Owen. Love the opening segment of Raw with Cena and the Rhodes segment. Terry, one of the members of the WN365 roster. You can join Terry. Just click the QR code there, or scan the QR code, rather. Says, here, Owen. Star-Lord's in the chat. Says, big up, Owen. Big up to everyone that's tuning in. So that was the opening segment. We then go to a tag team match, which is the New Day versus the New Catch Republic. Yes, Pete Dunne and a returning Tyler Bate. We haven't seen Tyler Bate since the summer of last year. He tore his pec on an episode of NXT. So he's back. They have a tag team match, and I thought, and how wrong was I? I thought, well, considering that they're in England and it's a returning Tyler Bate, then New Catch Republic, they're going to win this match. Boy, was I wrong. They didn't. The New Day won, and I was as shocked as Kofi Kingston. He was pretty shocked too. They get the victory, and then after the match, they get a stare down with the World Tag Team Champions, the War Raiders. I don't know where that's going into WrestleMania. I mean, look, they've got 2 nights to fill. The cards are bigger than their usual PLE. So I guess there's a chance the World Tag Team Championship could be on the line. But I spoke about this during the watch-along too. The difference in the tag team divisions on Raw and SmackDown is pretty stark at the moment. I mean, SmackDown, there's not a lot of great about it. The 3-hour show really does hurt it, and there's been a lot of filler on that show recently. But one thing I think they have got right is the tag team division. You know, they got the Street Profits, current champions, DIY, Motor City Machine Guns, Pretty Deadly. The tag team match between the Profits and Pretty Deadly Friday was pretty good actually as well. That was enjoyable. So there does feel like there's depth to the division there. You've also got, Los Garzas involved in that too. So there's depth there. When I look at the tag team division on Raw, the War Raiders came out. They didn't get much of a reaction, in all honesty. So I think there's work to do for the tag team division on Monday Night Raw. I really do. Maybe now that New Catch Republic is back, that will help it. But I don't know if this gets on WrestleMania or anything like that. I'd be quite surprised. We had a backstage segment with Jimmy and Jey Uso, and in retrospect, talk about segments that don't age very well. So obviously it's still the story of Jey Uso. I don't think I can beat Gunther, and Jimmy's trying to pep talk his brother, saying you can't beat him. Of course you can beat him, and I can beat him too. I can beat Gunther, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Boy, how wrong was he? Because not only did Gunther beat him, he had him beat 3 times in the match. Maybe don't listen to your twin brother that much, Jay, because it didn't go great for him. Really enjoyed this segment. I mean, there's been a lot of criticism about the World Heavyweight Championship build-up feud. It's not going to main event WrestleMania. There needs to be, I think, a change in verbiage when it comes to the Royal Rumble, because neither winner of the Rumble is main eventing either night of WrestleMania. Bit of a problem, isn't it? But so I think they should just change that to a guaranteed world title shot as opposed to main eventing WrestleMania. But you knew after Jimmy Uso slapped the ever-loving shit out of Gunther last week. Legitimate. Gunther, there's a couple of receipts in there, and it was exactly what this match needed to be. The match itself was physical. The problem with Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship reign is that he hasn't had enough matches like this. The reason his Intercontinental Championship reign was so great is because he had so many great matches. That's where Gunther's in his element. He'll talk shit on the microphone, but when it comes to the matches, they're hard-hitting, and he backs it up. And this is probably one of Jimmy Uso's best performances as well in this one, whereas Gunther just, big boots, chops, power bombs, you name it. And he had Jimmy Uso beat a bunch of times. Hits the power bomb, 1, 2, pulls his shoulders off the mat. No, I'll keep going. Lariats his head nearly off his shoulders. 1, 2, no, I'm not done yet. In the end, he chokes him out. And gets the submission victory. A bit of a botch at this point because as Gunther's locking in the choke, Jey Uso's graphics start appearing on the Titantron, and it's very obvious that he's about to come out. So when he locks in the choke once again, out comes Jey Uso. Not too much surprise. They spend the commercial break getting Jimmy Uso back to his feet. Then what happens once they get back from commercial? Gunther attacks both, and he got out the security coming down. It was, again, this is just a really well-executed segment. Security come down, and for whatever reason, security's got zip ties on them, I guess in case they need to zip tie someone. And Gunther takes a zip tie off the security guard after he powerbombed him onto the steel steps and zip ties Jey Uso to the ropes. That's what he does. He zip ties him to the ropes. And whilst he's doing this, he then continues to attack Jimmy, powerbomb him, hits him with the World Heavyweight Championship on the face, and then Jimmy Uso gets color like nobody's business. Now, I'm really interested to see what the story is about how they do this now in WWE, because of course we know that blood's back in WWE. They like to use it on certain occasions. Sometimes it's hard way, like at Elimination Chamber, like at Hell in the Cell with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Sometimes it's a blood capsule, which we've seen them use before. I don't know if they still allow blading in WWE. I don't know if it's blood capsules that they place. I don't know how they do it, but I'm glad to see blood back on WWE TV. I think that's a positive because when used right, as long as it's not used all the time, when used right, it can take an angle from here to here, and that's what it did this evening because I didn't expect it because it's rare. They don't do it all the time. And Jimmy Uso's bleeding buckets, and it elevated the segment. It just elevated the segment. It elevated the intensity. It elevated Gunther because he looked like a badass. It elevated the sort of despair that Jey Uso had. He's watching his brother getting busted open and bleeding, and he can't do anything about it. And that's the shot right there. He's choking him out. Jey Uso, he's zip tied to the rope. He can't even get to him. Gunther's laughing, and you see this sort of maniacal as he's choking him out right there, and Jey Uso can't reach. And that's an angle. The art of shooting an angle in pro wrestling is a lost art form nowadays. This right here is a good piece of pro wrestling business, and this is exactly what this feud needed. Before this evening, could care less about Gunther versus Jey Uso World Heavyweight Championship. I'm not, yeeting. I'm not, a big Jey Uso merchandise buyer. It gets great reactions in ring. It's not been great, and the build to this match at WrestleMania doesn't feel like a World Championship feud. And you go, I just don't care. I don't care. Jey Uso's going to probably win, and when he does, if anything, it's annoying. This evening, with this angle right here, for the first time, I went, right, that's a WrestleMania match. That's a WrestleMania angle. Just because you won the Royal Rumble doesn't make it a WrestleMania match. Just because you sell merchandise doesn't make it a WrestleMania match. Just because you get a great reaction and the crowd dances to your song doesn't make it a WrestleMania match. And Jimmy Uso, a couple of the matches he's had on the run to WrestleMania, they've been the shits. Whether he's botching diving over the top rope or winning matches in 8 seconds with a crossbody, even though it's meant to be a spear, whatever it may be, it's not been good. This evening, this segment, that's a pro wrestling segment. That is peak pro wrestling right there. That is a good bit of business. And that's exactly what this feud needed. Suddenly, it's got a bit more grit to it. It's got a bit more violence to it. It's for a world championship. Now, I think the only trouble that they're going to have is, like a lot of the times when you escalate a feud in pro wrestling, the match stipulation then has to escalate with it. Because where do you go from here? this now no longer, to me anyway, this now no longer, that can't be a regular match. How can you have someone zip tie a brother to the top rope and then choke out the twin brother whilst he's gushing with blood and then start doing collar and elbow tie-ups and doing hip tosses and drop downs? You can't do that. So I'm interested to see if they do add a stipulation onto this now, whether if it's a street fight, first blood, cage. I don't know what they would turn it into, but I can't see it. To me, logically, from a psychology point of view, can you just go and have a match? And also, if it's just a match, that's not in Jey Uso's wheelhouse. It's better for Jey Uso. Add some gimmicks onto it. Put some gimmicks onto it. Make it no disqualification. Make it first blood. Make it violent. Jay's an underdog, sympathetic babyface. Have Gunther do what he did tonight. Have Gunther beat the shit out of Jey Uso with weapons, with kendo sticks, with blood. And then when he does win, it means even more. Not only did he beat him, but he overcame so much adversity, so much violence. He had to go through a massive gut check to get it done. Like, that to me makes more sense, and I'm more invested in that. Evoke an emotion. That's what pro wrestling's about, evoking emotion. That segment tonight evoked emotion. And I'll give credit to everyone involved. I think it's exactly what the feud needed. I don't know if it improves the match at WrestleMania. That's why I say I think adding a stipulation helps that. But that's a piece of business. That's a piece of pro wrestling business right there. And I very much enjoyed it indeed. And then again, look, you see the facials. That shot there. Look at Gunther. He's spread the blood all over himself. He's tasting it and all that. And not even just for the pop, because sometimes you do see that, when there's blood and they do they taste it and you get the "you sick F" from people from the crowd or whatever. But if you do it at the right time, it means something. Tonight, that meant something. That was proper. Next up, we had a tag team match, which is all built around the Intercontinental Championship. It was Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor against Penta and Bron Breakker. The finish of the match sees Bron Breakker accidentally spear Penta, allowing Finn Balor to get the coup de grace. And Finn Balor actually won a match, folks. No, I know April Fool's Day is tomorrow, but it's not an April Fool. I'm telling you. But Finn Balor actually won a match. I mean, that's significant because there's some ridiculous statistic like Finn Balor has barely won any matches in like 3 years. So for him to get a pin on Penta's first pinfall loss since he joined WWE, that's pretty significant. And look, this then leads to a backstage segment with Penta and Bron Breakker, where he's screaming at him, he's stupid, blah blah blah. It's building to Intercontinental Champion. We're getting to an Intercontinental Championship multi-man match. Maybe it's a fatal four-way. Maybe it's more at WrestleMania, I think. And the Judgment Day is still going to implode. There's been a lot of quite significant teases that this implosion's going to happen fairly soon, isn't it? With new members and what have you. There was a segment later on in the show where Finn Balor's like, I'm going to go talk to Adam Pearce and get a title shot. And then Liv Morgan's whispering in the ear saying, you should get a title shot. You were involved in that match too. So it's going to a multi-man match. That's happening. We then got to the AJ Styles and Logan Paul segment, even though it was billed as Logan Paul calling out AJ Styles. AJ Styles came out first. Out comes Logan Paul, heavily booed, as one would expect from the crowd. It was a bit of a weird segment, basically just talking about how Logan Paul called everyone poor and, said it sounded like AJ Styles was threatening him. AJ Styles said, you better not write checks you can't ask, can't cash. They got into physicality. They were brawling. It led to Logan Paul got the upper hand. He hit the ropes into AJ Styles' groin, then hit the pulverizer, which is a beautiful move, by the way. And, that shot there shows that a WrestleMania match is happening. I believe it's actually been officially confirmed that the WrestleMania match between AJ Styles and Logan Paul is indeed on. So that match is set. I'm not sure I really care that much for it. It'd be a good match. AJ can have a good match with a broom, let alone someone that is talented like Logan Paul, especially if he's given time to put his matches together. So I have no doubt that it'll be a good match. As far as he wins, I probably think Logan Paul wins. I mean, AJ Styles is the older guy, put over the young guy on the way out. I think that's probably what will happen. Like I said, I'm not sure how much I care for it, but it'll be a good match, and I'm sure it'll get a lot of attention. And then we get into the main event, which is for the Women's World Championship with a special guest referee, Bianca Belair, the special guest referee for this one. I don't know if this is a fact here, so I may be mistaken. It'll be interesting to see what the reports say about this. it looked like during this one that Bianca Belair was having some technical difficulties. Now, if you're not familiar, during matches, referees wear an earpiece. And in that earpiece, they have the ability to have people talk to them from the back, whether it's Triple H, whether it's other producers, whether it's, lots of people. And usually they're given things, time cues, coming back from commercial in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go to finish, check on this person, are they okay, send them this message, blah, blah, blah. It looked like during the match that earpiece had stopped working for Bianca Belair. Now, I don't know that to be a fact. That's me speculating, but at several points she was kind of playing around with the wire there and sort of looking like she was talking to someone off camera, almost as if to say, like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they could hear her or what have you. So if that is the case, she adapted, I think, very, very well, did Bianca Belair. So it was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky. Of course, Io Sky being the reigning women's world champion. A really good match, lots of false finishes. Again, they have great chemistry. But the story of this one, as you expect, is Bianca Belair. She got a ref bump. Rhea Ripley hits the riptide on Io Sky. She got the count for, I think it was 15, 16 seconds. So she should have won the match, but there's no referee to pin. She turns there. She's having a go at her, saying, why are you not getting back in the ring? Why are you not getting back in the ring? Then it's another ref bump. This time it's Io Sky accidentally drop kicks Bianca Belair, as you can see right there, sends Belair out the ring. And then Bianca Belair effectively says, I've had enough. I got hit twice, double disqualification. Now, because it's a double disqualification, that means that Io Sky retains the Women's World Championship. So as of now, it's Io Sky versus Bianca Belair for the Women's World title at WrestleMania. Rhea Ripley's not happy with this. She basically attacks everyone, takes everyone out, hits the riptide on Bianca Belair, hits the riptide on Io Sky, ends the show with hitting a super riptide on Bianca Belair off the top rope. And that's how the show goes off the air, of her holding up the championship. We know it's a triple threat match at WrestleMania. The moment that Io Sky defeated Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship, we knew, right, we're getting a triple threat match. But that's what's happening. We're getting a triple threat match. How they're going to get to it, I mean, I was expecting a non-finish, which is what we got. It probably will be some kind of Adam Pearce intervention, perhaps. That's what we're going to get, a triple threat match. I think Io Sky, to be honest with you, is in the triple threat at WrestleMania to eat the pin, because I think Bianca Belair is winning it. I still say now that somehow Bianca Belair is involved with the Naomi J. Cargill stuff. That's my conspiracy theory that maybe I'll save for a future countdown video. So that's what I think. But in terms of an overall episode of Raw, I really enjoyed the opening 90 minutes. And at that point, I was saying it was the best show of the European tour. I still have, quite honestly, even though this was the best Cena Rhodes segment, I still have disappointments whereby I think there are still big logic holes missing in that. And there's something in me that goes, that can't be it. And I think I might be proven a bit wrong. Something in me says that won't be it. It won't. We'll get an unadvertised Cena appearance, maybe an appearance from The Rock or something, because there just feels like a big chunk of the story missing here. But if it isn't, then that's been a bit flat. Good segment, but there still just feels like there needs to be more. Really enjoyed, like I said, the piece of business between Gunther and Jimmy Uso. That's made me a lot more excited and a lot more interested in that match that I wasn't interested in before. So that's positive. And that's the end of the European tour. So there we go, guys. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As you can see there, we're at 45 subscribers away from 20K, which is unbelievable. That was my target for this year, for 2025. So the fact that we're heading into April and we're only 45 away, that is just amazing. So I really, really appreciate that. If you haven't already, click the like button. We're 2 likes away from 40 likes, so click the like button. A reminder, you can check out the sidebar for all the upcoming watch-alongs, post-shows, and anything else that we've got coming up soon. Sunday, we've got AEW Dynasty. You can join the WN365 roster. Click the link in the video description below. It's also pinned in the chat. You'll be able to see in a few seconds. You get your badges, you get your emojis, and you get your exclusive members-only content. As I mentioned, AEW Dynasty this Sunday. I'll be live 15 minutes before the show goes on the air. That's going to be main evented by Jon Moxley versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. So we'll be live for that one. It's going to be a late night on Sunday, but when isn't it? We're pro wrestling. That's what what you get if you join the WN365 roster. You get your badges, your emojis, and exclusive members-only content, such as gaming series is coming soon for that. We've got a bunch of games that we're going to play. As you'll see in just a few seconds, you'll be able to scan the QR code. You can pause it, scan that QR code. It sends you straight to where you need to go to join the WN365 roster, or you can just click the link in the video description. It's pinned in the chat as well. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in, subscribed, and liked. More content coming soon, and I'll speak to you again very soon. I'm out of it. Have a good night. Peace.